guess it is. Alright, cool. Actually, wait, did I even set up Necrobarista as like a source? I don't think so. Let me add it. Oh, like this. Like that. Yeah, it's not set up. Oops. That's something I should have checked before I pressed start stream. It's completely not set up. I think the game itself doesn't have the black bars. Yeah, I don't think it does. Okay, cool. Mute this one. Mute that one. Hide it. Ah, wait, no, I actually have to add the whole game. Oops. Alright, there we go. We've got it. Cool. Papa. Alright. Ah, man. It's been a while since I last played. Oh, wow. Since I last played Necrobarista. It's about time. It's about time we played the cozy coffee game that started it all. It was literally this game in particular that made me want to like start streaming. Oh, okay. Wait, are we doing this whole section again? I'm pretty sure I read all of the upstairs stories. Yeah, the billiards story about Brad. Pretty sure there was a Fisherman Part 2 out here somewhere. Did I read it? I don't think so. Let's walk slowly, atmospherically. Maddie's laptop. Advisory role. Ashley wanting to be an advisor. I remember that one. Right. Right. I mean, we've read Billiards 1. I just need to make sure that I've got the progress done. Brad. Now, this story was really nice. Yeah, actually. Like, as much as I lost concentration reading it because of the funny balls all over the place and how intense they like they made it feel about guys playing pool. It was actually a good story. I did like the story. I don't think I have the energy to read it all again and then do more of the game though. So, if you wanna see the content of the story and you haven't seen it before, check the VOD of I think that's the third or second Necrobarista stream, the last one, the one before this one. They should all be in the same playlist by now. I do have that set up. Speaking of that, I actually should like edit those videos so that they're a little bit easier to digest. No, we'll do it at some point. And I know this is the one where Ashley was sneaking snacks and then she got clowned on for it. Lamingtons. I want to try Lamington. I don't think I've had one. Okay, advisory role I've also done. Because this was Ashley just talking about how she had a lot of free time and wanted to be an advisor for Maddie. I think I didn't do Maddie's inbox though. I think I called the stream there. And so we're gonna start with Maddie's inbox today. Right, cool. I think I've got all the progression. Right. First things first, Maddie's inbox. From Jeanette Annette, GeneBean19 at yahoo.com. Subject, Spirit Beacon leaking. Date, January 25, 2014, 7:30 a.m., 58 seconds, like whatever. To admin at terminalvelocity.org. Wait, why is this coming to me? Hi, Madeline. This is Jeanette from the location down by the docks. I believe we met in person for the first time last month. I was opening up this morning and noticed that most of our spirit juice was gone. Checked the map and saw that you're the nearest location with the spirit beacon. I think you may have drained some of our supply. Honest mistake, I'm sure. But if you could stop running your spirit beacon during peak hours, that would be much appreciated. Thanks, and looking forward to working with you in future. Jeanette. From Jeanette Annette, GeneBean19 at you.com. Spirit beacon leaking. From January 28, 2014, 2 p.m. It's like 1:59, but that's 2 p.m. To admin at terminalvelocity.org. Hi, Madeline. Hope you got my previous message. Just wanted to give you an update on the spirit juice situation over here. I had several bottles that I marked last night just to confirm the issue. And when I got in this morning, the levels were below where I marked them. We're definitely losing spirit juice, and you're the only spirit beacon close enough to be affecting us. Please modulate your use to reasonable levels. I don't think this should be a problem as long as you're not running your beacon overnight. Again, not trying to assign blame here, but please be considerate to folks at other locations. Thanks, Jeanette. Oh boy, this is gonna be the spicy one. Even the second one had some barbs to it. Hold on, let me take a sip of my tea. Did I mix this? I think I did. Oh, it's lemon tea, so it's fine. From Jeanette Annette, GeneBean19 at you.com. Where's the re? January 31, 2014, 7:37 p.m. Alright, this is 3 days later. Madeline. Oh, damn, she's not even saying hi. We are draining spirit juice over here so fast that if I sit and watch, I can see it disappearing from the bottle. You're the only spirit beacon that is even remotely close to where we are, so we really need you to stop. It's affecting us, if it's affecting us, then it's probably affecting other locations. This is completely unacceptable. Fix this now, Jeanette. Oh boy, here we go again. February the 1st. Hey, Madeline. Care to explain why you weren't at terminal today when I showed up? I spoke with a girl named Ashley who said you decided to take the day off. What a coincidence. I was not impressed by the crying routine you had her do. Honestly, you should be ashamed of using a child's fake tears to try and hide from a situation that you caused. Turn off your beacon. I don't want to be the bad guy here, but if you don't do something, I'm going to have to get the council involved. From Clarence Frum at yahoo.com. Misplaced cutlery, February 8, 2014. Hi, Maddie. This is Clarence from the docks location. Just wanted to give you a heads up. This morning we found out that the site manager we recently hired, I believe you met Jeanette last month, was leaving spirit juice in untempered glass bottles, and we had a bit of a leak. We ended up having a bit of a problem with some animated cutlery. We have the situation under control here, and we're mostly sure everything is accounted for on our end. Unfortunately, this started happening about a week ago, which might be enough for something to wander off far enough that we wouldn't be able to detect it. Very unlikely that this happens, but just wanted to give you a heads up in case a possessed steak knife wandered off far enough to find your beacon and decides to pay you a visit. Sorry about the situation. Rest assured, the person responsible for this won't have any opportunity to mess up with anything of this magnitude again. By the way, are you planning on going to M's birthday next month? Regards, Clance. That's kind of funny. Maddie Shao. Misplaced cutlery. Hi, Clance. Sorry, I missed your message earlier. I no longer use this address. Please use contact@terminalvelocity.org for anything related to terminal business. Huh. Hope you enjoyed M's birthday party. I don't remember why I couldn't attend, but I'm sure it was a good reason. Maddie. That's funny. Alright. What is the next story up here? I know I didn't. I went around that way. I went around that way, so should be done. Keep the balance. You're overdue this week, said Ned. He tapped the list of rules that Maddie kept posted by the door. This 24-hour rule. Are you sure you've been enforcing it? I think how we run things around here is none of your business, said Maddie. Actually, it absolutely is my business, said Ned. In fact, keeping the rules is basically my only business. That's kind of what the word enforcer means. I'm supposed to scold you for breaking the rules. So audit me. Fine, said Ned. Let me check your ledger. We don't keep a ledger, said Maddie. Maybe you should, said Ned. Lots of places do. It's a great system. You have someone to stand at the door, you have them mark down whenever someone comes in or leaves. Then you forcibly evict people who have overstayed their welcome. I'm amazed that you don't have a system like that in place. Wow. Some people overstay their welcome. Other people understay it, said Che. There's no need to strictly keep track of how long people stay, right? Just maintain the balance. You're right, said Ned. All that matters is maintaining the balance. So maintain the balance, because when you don't, then we have a problem. We're a bit short-staffed to have someone acting as a full-time doorman, said Maddie. Figure it out, said Ned. He tapped the board listing the rules. Change 24 hours to 23 hours. When you say 24 hours, people think you just colloquially mean one day, and they don't pay attention to the specific time. When you say 23 hours, people actually have to keep track of what time it is. That would be fine, said Che, except for the part where you're cutting time of people's stay. Trust me, said Ned. Anyone who would go right up to the limit is probably going to go over it. 23 hours is going to mean 23 hours plus an extra 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour plus however long it takes to finish their drink. And if they leave in less than 24 hours, who gives a shit? I give a shit, said Che. You're right, you should give a shit, said Ned. In fact, you should celebrate whenever you manage to scooch someone out of here in just under 24 hours, because the balance is upset, and you've got to correct it. You can either correct the balance 1 hour at a time, or the council can come here and repossess some souls. Who knows? Or you can find someone who knows how to manage this responsibly. He turned to Che. Come on, buddy. I don't want to have to take this place away from you. That would be quite the escalation, said Maddie. Well, you're already on the first level of escalation, which is a stern talking to, said Ned. Let's try not to escalate it any further. I just want to use like a really over-the-top voice for Ned, because he just looks so silly. Che sighed. Well, Maddie cut him off. We'll change the rule to 23 hours, okay? Buzz off. Wow, really? Said Ned. Well, okay then. And while you're rewriting the signs, you should also take the green tea frappuccino off the menu. Frapp should be for coffee, not tea. Done, said Maddie. Wait, really? Said Ned. Damn, I didn't realize you were so open to feedback. Also, that caramel... We'll take it under advisement, said Maddie, placing a hand on Ned's chest, physically pushing him towards the door. Hold up, said Ned. What are you doing? Removing an unwanted guest, said Maddie. I need the practice if you're going to start enforcing those rules you're going to care so much about. If we're going to start enforcing those rules you care so much about. Now said Ned as he continued backpedaling to stay upright. Look, could you just... Bye, said Maddie as Ned crossed the threshold out of the cafe, and Maddie shut the door in his face. She turned back, leaning her back against the door, and sighed. Che raised an eyebrow. You're serious about the rule change? Yeah, said Maddie. I'll change the sign and the menu after we close tonight. Wait, really? The rule change is to keep him off our back, said Maddie. And the menu thing? I've been meaning to take that off anyway, said Maddie. It's the kind of menu item that attracts the worst sort of people. Well, okay, said Che. Though, I do think we should change the rule back to 24 hours after things have had enough time to balance out. Of course, said Maddie. Wouldn't want to upset the balance too far in the right direction, or in the opposite direction. What would we do with all that extra time anyway? Alright, that's a cool story. Oh, and then it opens up downstairs. Actually, and the robots? What's the robot carrying? Enter doodle mode. Okay, that's doodle mode. Bam, 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 bam. What is happening out there? I think the best games are the games made by devs that have like physical constraints in terms of like the graphics quality they can push, because this game was like originally meant for Nintendo Switch and then it got ported, and it's like the way that they've made the graphics work is so cool. Hey, wait, no, this is the Fisherman one. I swear I read this one. Yeah, I've read this one. Why is the Fisherman 1 down here? Yeah. I guess it'll change after I advance the story or something. Just want to make sure that I've read everything. This is probably going to be thinking about alchemy the wrong way. Yep. There's the crucibles. Okay, I guess it's the same cafe from earlier. I'm trying to remember if it changed. I don't think it changed after the first time. Alright, let's try this doodle mode. Ashley's Journal 1, yeah, that's the wind something. Alright, let's see what doodle mode is all about. I can't draw, by the way. So I hope it doesn't actually involve actual drawing. La doodly. In doodle mode, you can draw a face for each ashling. Whenever an ashling appears throughout the game, you'll be able to see your artistic masterpiece. Okay, Jacoby. Let's give you a face. Ah. Bro, how is drawing a circle so hard? Oh. Then naturally he needs ears. Oh god. Okay, we can't go far off into the margin. Then some hair. That looks like a Jacoby. Alright. There you go, Jacoby. Oh god, that is cursed. Kepler. Kepler needs to have like a big strong face with like a strong jawline. So let's give him a jawline. Like that. That's a strong... That's not strong. Let's give him a strong jawline. Okay, this is not particularly strong, but you know, you get the idea. You know what, let's give him a whole head. There we go. And then we give him an eye, another eye. Yeah, my eyes look like triangles. Don't worry about it. And we give him a nice big smile. Big, big smile. Ha ha. There we go. And some teeth. Okay, now we're gonna have to. There's no undo. Okay. And I'm not about to reset, so we're gonna do like this, and I don't know how to explain what that all is. He's chewing on something. There we go. That's what's happening over there. Cool. Kepler is done. Amazing. And now Lovelace. Lovelace needs to have like elegant features. Smooth. I cannot do elegant. Wait, I give him glasses. I give Lovelace glasses. Okay, those like square glasses too. Eh. Eh. Ah, it's not straight. Eh. There we go. One. Then we do the bridge. Bro's got... Ah! That's fine. And we go across again. Then we go down. There we go. And then we give him a... He's not gonna smile, he's gonna have a straight face. The other two are smilers. Lovelace is serious. He means serious business. Then because he's the most robotic looking one, he needs to have the true robo triangle nose and a little antenna at the top. Okay, that didn't work out, so let's just turn it into like a... We put his whole face in a box. Uh-oh. Well, some of his glasses got caught in his face, but it's fine. Then we just give him some hair. There we go. That's perfect. Amazing. I have made 3 beautiful robots. I think I've made great robots. Oh yeah, there's my teaspoon. This shouldn't be a depressing memory for any of us. Okay. How did we end up back here? Yeah, I've done that one. Which is why I'm now allowed to go downstairs and continue the story. Let's go. What's coming up next? I actually really liked that anime intro thing that happened. That was really cool. Are we sleeping? Day 2, 12 p.m. The terminal. Well, his 24 hours are up by now. Rise and shine. Don't wanna. You shouldn't waste your last hours on Earth sleeping. Whoever said I'll have plenty of time to sleep when I'm dead probably had a different idea of how things would play out after death. Man, I was really hoping that I was having a really long, weird dream. Hey, sorry, no such luck. Some more pediatric magical practitioners are quite bothered by the flippant and colloquial use of the word luck. Che isn't one of them. I'm still having trouble getting my head around it. I totally understand. Want a coffee? Yeah, just something simple. Hipster coffee coming right up. Hold on, why am I getting cold? little brother needed me for something, so I had to answer my phone just to be sure that everything was okay. There's more to this place than meets the eye. Matt is down there, desperately trying to fix our debt situation. Sounds like she's hosting a cage match or something. Well, not exactly. But she's mentioned wanting to do that. There's some wrestler called the Red Comet that she wouldn't stop talking about for a while. Huh. And then, because of that, Ashley got obsessed with wrestling for a bit and kept trying to suplex me. Ashley's small, so he has to opt for wrestling moves that control the opponent's weight instead of trying to lift them. Did she manage to? She's tiny. A couple times. It was very humiliating. I can imagine. But to properly answer your question, Maddie's running a gambling ring. Downstairs. All by herself. It's a fairly unconventional one. And by unconventional, you mean mortals generally aren't involved. The stakes are higher than usual. Oh. Coffee's ready. Come over and get it. Am I about to go and gamble hours of my life away? They gamble for time, among other things. You don't sound like you're a huge fan of the idea. I'm not. It's undignified. I mean, as long as Maddie's not in danger, shouldn't it be fine? The council doesn't like it. They turn a blind eye because we don't cause trouble otherwise. But I'd rather not have to worry about bad things coming our way. Because Maddie refuses to approach the problem from a different angle. And by problem you mean debt, yeah? I was pretty drunk, but I think I remember Maddie storming off after Ned turned up. Yeah. I'm a bit worried about her. Wish I could help. You all seem pretty nice. The thought's appreciated. Maddie will figure it out eventually, though, I'm sure. She just needs time. Hey, thanks for the coffee, by the way. I just realized you haven't actually made me pay for a bunch of them. How'd you expect to pay for them? Oh, right. Yep, no cash. If I were feeling particularly capricious, I'd ask you to pay in time. But you're a nice kid, and you need every minute you've got. Nope. You want to head downstairs? I can see your eyes darting to the stairs. Now, I'm not going down, but I'm also not going to stop you. Yeah, if that's okay. Go on then, I'll stick around up here. Take a sip. Catch you in a bit. Oh boy, things are gonna get a little wild. When they said gambling your life away, they really meant it, or I suppose here's gambling your afterlife away. As the stairs led down to the basement were the stairs that led down to the basement were well worn and solid, with smooth ruts on each step and a handrail that had been polished to a silky sheen through years of use. Kishan had always liked stairwells. Why am I seeing words that aren't there? Am I going schizo? People never lingered in them for long, and he'd found them a good place to catch a breather. He wasn't obsessed with them. That'd be weird, but he definitely appreciated a nice set of stairs. That's kind of weird. That is weird. On further reflection, it was probably a little weird. Yeah, it's definitely weird. Downstairs, Maddie's audience clamored for blood. Even the dead find blood sports compelling. From you to me, with the understanding that your remaining moments on this plane are limited, you surrender this time freely, without coercion, as agreed. Boo, boring. We want violence. Nah, today's a chill day. I'm like leaning back. I'm on my beanbag, by the way. I'm just chilling on my beanbag. I'm not even that close to the to the screen. I am super chill right now. Wait, let me move it a bit closer so that I can read better. So I can read chat better. Move that table out of the way. Oof. Uh-oh, that might mess with my tracking. Oh wait, no, we still good. Yeah, we're good. Cool. I'm like way down here. Contract fulfilled. You're free to go. Everything comes at a price. Nothing risked means nothing gained. Phew. That's 3 in a row, you bloodthirsty bastards. The crowd cheered. Maddie was clearly an expert at winding them up into a frenzy. Who's next? The room fell dead silent. Come on, isn't there anyone here brave enough to challenge me? I thought you came here to play with knives, you pansies. Seriously, anyone? Don't hold out on me. Do I need to pick someone out from the crowd then? Is this what we've come to? Maddie's gaze swept the audience. Kishan, good to see you upright. Interested in a game of skill? Me? Yes, you. Oh, sure. Give me some enthusiasm, my man. Sure. What's the game? 5-finger fillet. Some of the people in here just call it the knife game. You heard of it? Oh, finally something I'm good at. Aw, shit. Rise and shine. This is gonna be dope. You've got a lot of knives in this place. Tell me about it. Damn, this thing has a good weight to it. He's feeling out. Of course, I wouldn't make you compete with an inferior tool. Ha. What? Sorry, I was waiting for you to segue into calling me an inferior tool. Shit, that was low-hanging fruit, wasn't it? Next time, mate. Sure. Kishan did an experimental slash, and this time it made an audible whoosh. The spectators oohed and awed. This wasn't for them. He knew he only had one shot to get accustomed with the blade. You done showing off? Nothing wrong with putting on a little show. Sounds like you're stalling for time. Getting cold feet, perhaps? Psh, not a chance. Let's get started then. You know what you're wagering? Shay mentioned something about you gambling with time. Ugh, it's not gambling if it's a game of skill. But that's besides the point. We're both wagering 4 hours. If you win, it comes from the cafe's balance. If I win, it comes from yours. You've got around 16 hours left in your case, in case you weren't keeping track. Shit, only that many? Want a little extra time to play with then? Hell yes. Let's stop wasting it and get this over with. You sure you know what you're getting into? Most people are pretty shy about playing with the time they have left, especially when their tank's running as empty as yours. Yep, come on. Unless you're getting cold feet. Hardly. You've got 30 seconds. Smack the timer when you're ready. The crowd cheered and Kishan fed off their enthusiasm. In response, Maddie leaned back and tapped her finger on the table, feigning impatience. He met her eyes, grinned, and continued his performance. His stabbing motion got faster as he went, the point narrowly missing each of his fingers. Stabs strong enough to drive the knife a millimeter or two into the table, which were good if you wanted to put on a show, and of course, giving the spectators a show was part of the fun. You might be going fast enough to put on a show, but you're not going fast enough to win. How'd I do? 16 sets if I counted correctly. Whoa, I couldn't do 16. That's how many Maddie beat me with. Is she gonna lose? Nah, she's gonna kick his ass. Feeling good about yourself? Feeling good about that result? I certainly am. Rightio then. Watch closely. Oh, I will. 16. Boom. 1, 3, 7, 11, 15. Oh, what happened? Told you, she's unbeatable. Is it magic? She could cheat if she wanted to. Definitely not. She's just that good. Poor guy. Didn't know what he was getting into. Sorry, mate. Beat me fair and square. I'm pretty impressed. I aim to please. I'll be taking those hours now if you don't mind. Yeah, sure. How does this work? Just like this. You won't feel a thing. Kishan felt a brief tightness in his chest, and for just a moment the tip of Maddie's finger burned white hot. Can't beat entropy. Anytime you do an energy transfer, there's gonna be some amount of energy lost to heat. Ow! Shit. Sorry, I lied. It's done now, though. Alright. Does anyone else dare to compete with me? Come on, looking for some actual decent opposition here. I'll take any challenge. Even if it's chess or something. Any challenge? I challenge you. Oh boy. To get everyone a drink. Rounds on me. Haha. I didn't realize you were watching. There wasn't anything happening upstairs and I got bored. Right. So, you took some hours from Kishan, huh? Yes, I did. Do you feel good about that? Che, do you? I won them fair and square. He didn't know what he was getting into. There's an obvious power imbalance here you're exploiting. Che isn't one to let you forget the responsibilities that come with power. He's Uncle Ben. He knew the rules. That doesn't change anything. You led him to believe that he'd get some extra time. Maddie knows firsthand how seductive the promise of extra time can be. And, barring a miracle on his part, that absolutely wasn't going to happen. Doesn't matter. He's just passing through. A couple hours won't make any difference. Oh, damn. Maddie, I'm disappointed in you. Our patrons respect us. We need to earn that respect by treating them with respect ourselves. This is not respectful or dignified. Cheating vulnerable passers through out of their time. We're above that. We're better than that. I don't care whether you think it's dishonest or not. I want you to give that poor man his time back. Don't pout. This is serious. I feel like a broken record saying this, but while I understand your intentions are good, you can't keep doing these things. It's all for you. If you really want to do this for me, find another way. Blah blah blah. This isn't worth it, Maddie. It breaks my heart to see you like this. I know that you're trying your hardest. But this truly, really is not worth sacrificing your own self-respect over. I feel like they're talking about something else. Everyone here respects you. But you gambling with hours just cheapens that. I'll give the hours back. Shame. I was pretty great with the knife. Still not as good as me. It was pretty close. Another achievement unlocked. A loading screen. Oh boy, my beautiful doodles. Lovelace. Yes. What form did you have before being reborn? I think I was a crab. Come on, I'm being serious. Ashley wouldn't harvest spirit liquid from a crab. You're assuming an awful lot about how squeamish she is. As far as I can remember, I lived above streets next to the sky. So a bird then, wings and feathers and such. Damn, bird speaking English. No, not that. I do remember flying though. Was he a plane? Oh, you were a sugar glider? Describe. Did you eat insects and tree sap and flower nectar? That is familiar. Wonder how Ashley found you then? Could have been anything, really. You mentioned bright lights earlier. Oof. Yeah, I'm thinking you got hit by a car. What's a sugar glider? That seems likely. Is that bad? I mean, you're here now, so whether you like it or not, shut up. I am still adjusting. Boop, 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 boop. I love robots. Love the robots. Actually, let me be specific. I don't love all robots. Oh, yeah. Look at you, turning into a responsible human being. Fight Club? Wait, what the hell? I'm a bunch of knives. Studio mode is now available. You can now speak to Kishan to access studio mode. Whoa, Beth won. Alright, let's go and see this. Let's go, little girl. The man standing in front of Beth smirked. The knife he held seemed almost slight compared to his massive hands, but that didn't make it any less intimidating. Finish this one, quick, came a call from behind the knife holder. 3 men stood behind him, wearing expressions which ranged from amused to bored. Beth felt her palm getting sweaty, and loosened her grip on the knife in her right hand, sliding her thumb along the guard to reassure herself that its shape hadn't changed since the moment she'd picked it up. Take your friend's advice, Beth said, to the man who was menacing her. Finish this quick. After all, I'm just a little girl. Well, as little as any 15-year-old girl could be. Can do, said the man as he drew his knife up for an overhead swing. The man's movements suggested that he didn't know how to use a knife. Not really. He was swinging the knife like he'd swing a fist, like he was trying to bludgeon her with it, like he'd never really used a knife before. He was stupid, mercifully stupid. She tried to reassure herself of that fact, trying not to lose her resolve. He lunged towards her as he brought the knife down. Beth raised her left arm. She felt the edge of the knife hit her skin, but the impact of the blow caused the man to lose his grip on the knife. Oh boy, an opening. Beth grabbed the attacker's knife arm and pulled him towards her, while thrusting her own knife towards him at chest level. She drove the knife into the man's chest with all the force she could muster. He fell to the ground and gasped as Beth released her grip on him. The man lay on the ground and put a hand to his chest, moaning. Son of a bitch! You doing okay down there? Said Beth. The man sat up and patted his chest. I didn't expect to lose to a girl. No, said the man. Well, that too, but I didn't expect it to hurt this much. These rubber practice knives are no joke, said Beth. If I'd stabbed any harder, I might have broken a rib. The man stood up. You got a name, girl? You can call me Beth, she said, extending a hand. He shook it with a look of hesitation. I'm Kyle. I've got to say, Beth, that was kind of a cheap trick. How do you mean? Said Beth. I mean, the way you blocked my knife with your arm, it just bounced off. You couldn't do that if we were using real knives. He's right, said one of the spectators. Not really a fair fight with rubber knives. I'd like a rematch, said Kyle. Yeah, said one of the spectators. Rematch. The others began chanting along with him. Rematch, 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 rematch. A voice thundered from above. I thought I told you guys to keep it down. Everyone spun around to face the stairs leading up to the ground floor. Maddie was leaning over the railing. Okay, Maddie was leaning over the railing of the staircase with a stern look on her face. She tapped a poster on the wall. Beth took a moment to glance at the sign. Fight Club rules. 1. Don't quote Tyler Durden. 2. Seriously, no Tyler Durden quotes. 3. Always assume your opponent is mortal. Practice weapons only. 4. Be considerate to other guests. Keep noise to a reasonable level. We don't have many rules here, said Maddie. Please don't make me kick you out of the basement. Everyone else in the room cast their gaze downwards, looking ashamed, with several mumbled apologies. Maddie nodded and climbed back up the stairs, content that she'd made her point. Seriously, though, said Kyle, not really a fair fight without real knives. Beth walked over to the edge of the room, lifted a rug, revealing 2 steak knives. Several whispers erupted from the small crowd. Where'd you get these? Asked Kyle. I swiped them from upstairs, said Beth. They're not exactly combat gear, but these blades are fit enough to cut through flesh, whether it's cooked steak or a human arm. Beth held onto one of the steak knives by the blade, presenting its handle to Kyle. You've already broken Rule 1 tonight. How about breaking another one? I won't get hurt, said Kyle. I mean, I can still feel pain, but, I'm not afraid of getting stabbed. Neither am I, said Beth. But don't say you're ready for this if you're not ready to bleed. She turned the knife over in her hands, pressing her thumb against the tip, just enough to draw a single drop of blood. Damn, Beth is hardcore, what the hell? Kyle grinned. Do I look like I would be here if I was afraid to die? Oh, is that it? Is that the end of the story? That's crazy. That one was intense. Wandering spirit. Just behind me. Kishan's footsteps echoed in a way that startled him. Were his footsteps always so loud? Perhaps it was just the contrast with the surrounding environment, which seemed to be completely silent, that made his footfalls seem so jarringly loud as he walked along the catwalk. He was on a catwalk. Why was he on a catwalk? There seemed to be a gaping space below him, filled with some sort of mist that he couldn't see through. It was fog-like, and yet despite the fog that lapped at his feet, the air felt so dry. The air was thick here. As he breathed heavily, Kishan felt an overwhelming sweet, sickly odor, like the smell of wet or rotting wood. But all he could see around him were steel beams and a concrete path in front of him. Was it rust he was smelling? No, he knew the smell of rust. This was different. The smell was somehow organic, like the smell of a forest after a fresh rainfall. Kishan shivered. Far in the distance, he could see what looked like a building of some sort, so far away that it almost made the structure he was inside feel almost tunnel-like, as if its only purpose was to convey him to that building. He continued walking forward, but as he walked, the building seemed to grow more and more distant. He quickened his pace, and as he walked faster, he could feel himself moving through the thick, yet stifling air. Yet as he looked down, he could see the texture of the catwalk in front of him unchanged, as though he were walking in place. Kishan started to turn backwards, and saw only a blinding light. His eyes immediately shut, and when he opened them, he was again facing into the tunnel, with the distant building at the center of his field of view. He tried turning around, but every time he tried to turn his head, his eyes involuntarily shut at the sight of the light, and he was forced to close his eyes or look away, always confronted again with the sight of the small hut when he opened his eyes. His heart pounded violently inside of his chest. When do you get a gun? Why do you want me to have a gun? Oh, you mean like in the game? His heart pounded violently inside of his chest. The tunnel was so quiet that he could hear his own heartbeat, feel his own pulse inside of his head. Something about this place felt deeply, incredibly wrong. Get back. I have to get back. He tried turning again, and this time he found himself unable to even begin rotating his body before his eyes snapped shut, placing him again in the world of darkness until he opened them again, and was confronted with the sight of a small hut in the distance, now looking more far away than ever. I have to get back. Kishan kept facing the building and took a step backwards. As he placed his foot on the ground, he felt a gust of wind knock him forward. He let out a yelp of terror. Instinctively, his hand reached to the opposite ends of the catwalk as he fell, trying to steady himself for fear of falling off. The catwalk was wide enough that his body didn't land close enough to the edge for that to have been a risk. Yet, as he looked towards the edge, he felt a growing sense of dread that there was something down there that would capture him, even if he allowed it to catch. That would capture him if he allowed it to catch even the smallest hold of him. It's crazy. Almost as though almost as he thought it, he felt the sensation of something pressing against his legs. He stumbled to his feet. He ran forward. The hut ahead of him seemed to grow no closer as he ran, but he ran all the same, running not to reach the destination, but to be away from whatever it was that was behind him. Moments ago, his only thought was an overwhelming desire to turn back, a worry that he was somehow trapped in here, but now that worry was replaced with an overwhelming sense of dread that propelled him forward. He had been pushed as if he had been pushed forward by something. Something was behind him. Kishan leaned forward and ran. He was no runner. He often found himself winded when he was forced to climb more than one flight of stairs, and yet he ran and felt no sense of tiredness holding him back, no need to catch his breath. Maybe it was the thick air here that somehow never allowed him to run out of breath. Maybe it was the fear of whatever was behind him that was that strong. Kishan felt the air stinging at his eyes as he ran. By now he was running so fast that the thick air felt like a hot wind on his face. Tears began running down his face, but he couldn't find it in him to raise his hand to wipe at his eyes. That would mean slowing his sprint. So he closed his eyes, fully aware that he was running down a catwalk that had no handrail on either side. At this point, he didn't care. He ran and ran. Long after the tears on his face had dried, Kishan realized that he could hear only the sound of his own feet as they struck the catwalk. He couldn't even hear the rush of wind, even as it seemed to buffet his face. There was no sounds of anyone or anything pursuing him. Perhaps there was no pursuer at all. He allowed himself to open his eyes and looked down. He looked over his shoulder. This time, there was no blinding light, only a distant glow, like the light at the end of a long tunnel. In a way, it was the light at the end of a long tunnel, and in observing the dim... What? Oh wait, no, I accidentally pressed the wrong button. I wanted to go previous. God damn it. Something about that sentence made no sense. Made absolutely no sense. Which is usually because I misread something. Okay, only a distant glow like the light at the end of a long tunnel. In a way, it was the light at the end of a long tunnel. That is such a weird sentence. And in observing the dim glow of the distant light, it's a glow, right? I'm pretty sure it's a typo. I found a typo finally. Kishan suddenly realized just how far he had run. He turned around and saw the building right in front of him. It had windows that were covered in the same fog that covered the ground around him. Kishan reached for the door handle. He half expected it to be locked, and felt a moment of panic as the handle bowed under the pressure of his hand. Was he ready to face whatever was on the other side of that door? Did he even want to enter? Did he have a choice? What was it that awaited him inside that building? Answers or more baffling questions? Kishan looked down the tunnel and suddenly felt cold. Whatever this place was, he needed to escape it, and the only form of egress seemed to be available to him was the door of this building. He leaned on the handle, felt the door swing open. And that's the end. Crazy. That's probably where he got to the cafe. The terminal cellar, staff only. Okay, it's closed. That's the way back upstairs. Is there anything else down here? Oh boy, billiards 2. The boys and their balls. Oh wow, it's like a whole basement thing down here though. Ashley's journal 2. I can't see shit now. Why are those boxes red? Oh, something over here. Rotten poppy. Okay. Rotten poppy sounds interesting. I think I'll read that one. Right, where was it? It was like here, right? No? I missed it. Where is rotten poppy? I'm pretty sure I saw it. I did not imagine it. It's this aisle, right? Why has it disappeared? I don't want to do Ashley's journal just yet, because that one is bad crazy, and I'm pretty sure Billiards is gonna be super long. Oh, Fisherman 3. Never mind. Fisherman time. Alright, hold on. Alright. Jack waited until Maddie left the counter before motioning to Che. Hey, said Che. Can I get you something? Jack nodded. Can you get out the whiskey bottle and pour a glass? Che glanced over his shoulder to verify that Maddie wasn't present. Any reason you couldn't ask her? Said Che. Afraid what it might do to me, said Jack. I wouldn't want her to worry. Che arched an eyebrow. Shouldn't I be worried? Jack shook his head. You don't strike me as a warrior. It's not intending to get drunk. I think if I smell it, that might be enough. You're going somewhere inside of here, said Che, tapping the side of his head. Exactly, said Jack. And you, well, I can tell from looking at you, you know what it's like to see a friend die. Che smiled grimly. Am I that easy to read? No, but I now know it's true, said Jack. Don't count her out, said Che, referring to Maddie. She's seen more than you can read on her face. Yeah, but... Jack hemmed and hawed over his next words. Seeing something is not the same thing as having experienced it. You know what it means to be... No, you know what it means to be experienced in losing friends. Che nodded. It's a feeling that I've grown well acquainted with over the years. I remember the day I found myself preparing for a funeral and not even thinking too hard about what I was doing. Almost going into autopilot. Till the moment I realized I've done so many of these I can mentally check out at doing this. Followed by the feeling of nobody's ever supposed to feel like they're getting good at doing funerals, right? Followed by a feeling of actually we all leave this mortal coil at some point, and someone has to be the last one in their group of friends to kick the bucket. And maybe doing well at longevity just means outlasting your friends. Jack's eyes narrow. How old are you? Older than I look, said Che. Jack laughed, but it was a forced laugh. Damn, I wish I had that problem. I have the same thing, but in reverse. Che got the bottle of Jack Daniels out from where Maddie had stowed it and set it in front of Jack before looking for a glass. Jack picked up the bottle and studied the label. You've worked with your hands before, said Jack. Never worked a boat before, said Che. It's not bad work, said Jack. Never boring. From the first day I spent out on the water, I knew it was my calling. I even had enough to retire after several years. But by that point I was so wedded to the idea of having my own boat that I kept saving. Did you ever become Captain Jack? One day, said Jack. I was Captain Jack for one day. Che held the glass in his hand, not setting it down in front of Jack. It was terrible shit luck, said Jack. The weather was clear. The water wasn't even choppy. Guess that's why he got careless. I guess that's why he thought he could try and fix the net when it stuck. At least, I assume that's what he was trying to do when he fell overboard. Che silently set the glass down on the counter, bottom side up. You know what the worst part is? When I realized that it happened, I didn't think the captain, the one man whose job it is to keep a level head. I didn't think. Let me do that again. You know what the worst part is? When I realized that it happened, I didn't think. The captain, the one man whose job it is to keep a level head. That sentence is correct, but when I read it out, it doesn't feel correct. You know what the worst part is? When I realized that it happened, I didn't think. The captain, the one man whose job it is to keep a level head, I didn't think about what I was doing. I just jumped overboard after him. Didn't grab a life ring or anything. Stupid. If you ever find yourself in that position, when you jump overboard, all you're doing is making the problem twice as big. There's nothing I can imagine that compares to the sense of dread and regret that I felt the moment as I felt myself sinking below the surface. Can you imagine that? Having that kind of thought? They say when you're in intense physical pain, it's supposed to block out anything. Can't feel anger, or sadness, or regret, or wistfulness. When there's 1,000 needles stabbing at you all over all at once, which is exactly what it feels like when you jump into the freezing Alaskan surf. That's what you don't really realize about cold until you're totally immersed in it. You don't feel cold. You feel pain all over. And somehow in the midst of all that pain, it's still impossible to think, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. Dumbass. When I leaped over, I guess I imagined myself swimming through the water looking for him. And I actually did try opening my eyes. Big mistake. The Pacific Ocean, I'm not sure if you know this, but it's salt water. And somehow, that's even more painful than the thousands of pins of needles stinging you all around, reminding you that the water's freezing and you're not supposed to be in it. You know what the crazy thing is? They managed to fish me out. Terrible pun, sorry. They found me. They threw me a line. Irony is, I almost died of hypothermia there on the deck. Being soaking fucking cold in the cold Arctic wind. You know, hypothermia can kill you almost as fast as drowning can. I didn't even make it to Cal's funeral. Couldn't bear to look his girl in the eye. Nobody blamed me as captain. Cal should have known better than to do what he did. Did know better. But all I could think was, what if I hadn't jumped over? If they hadn't been busy pulling my stupid ass out of the water, would they have found Cal? And I knew that if I was thinking it, then she had been thinking it too. They all had been thinking it. I couldn't face that. All I could do was sit at home. And every time I walked to the bathroom, I passed the display full of these bottles. He tapped the bottle of whiskey on the counter. Hypothermia can kill you in 5 minutes. Drowning can kill you in 3. Drinking yourself to death, it takes longer than that, but not much longer. He looked up at Che. I just want to smell it. Jack glanced at what little remained of the halibut Che had grilled for him. The fish didn't do it for you, huh? Said Che. Jack shook his head. Like I said, it smelled too good. Che dutifully uncorked the whiskey and poured out a finger. Jack held the glass to his nose and inhaled deeply. Yeah, this is the smell I was looking for. There it is. That's the smell that makes me sick to my stomach. He stood up. I think I'm ready to go. That is a crazy story, man. That is a crazy story. Nah. That is great. Like, what the hell? That's insane. I think that's like my favorite. Yeah, that's my favorite, like, bit of. Oh, there we go. There's the rotten puppy. That one's gonna stick with me. That's a good one. Maddie opened a herb jar and sighed as she examined the contents. Rotten. She began pouring them down the sink. I hate poppy seeds, she muttered to herself. I won't tolerate that kind of hate speech here, said Che. Too bad the rules aren't yours to make, old man, said Maddie. You should have thought about that before you handed me the keys. I could help you get the keys back, said Ashley. I've got a magnetic grabber that... The keys are a metaphor, said Maddie. They're not some kind of magical talisman that grants ownership over an establishment. But there is a magical talisman that grants ownership over the establishment, asked Ashley. Yeah, said Maddie. It's called the deed. And this deed entitles me to certain privileges, such as expressing my hatred for poppy seeds. Hate is not good for the soul, said Che. Hatred corrupts the soul. Hey, I'm new here, said Kishan. But, are you talking literally? Does hatred actually corrupt the soul? No, hatred does not corrupt the soul, said Maddie. Nor will poppy seeds, despite being a distant cousin of the bay leaf. That's kind of funny. It's a good thing, said Shay, because Maddie's soul is full of hate. Trust me, I've seen the ultrasound. Once again, as the new guy, I gotta ask, are you talking literally? No, hatred does not show up in an ultrasound, said Maddie. And I assume the thing about bay leaves corrupting the soul is also a metaphor? Oh no, said Maddie. That part was entirely literal. Bay leaves absorb bitterness. You always remove the bay leaf from something before eating it. Bitterness, as in figurative bitterness. I was talking literally, in the sense that bay leaves absorb figurative bitterness. But yes, they also absorb literal bitterness. Huh? I'm so confused right now, said Che. Just don't absorb a bay leaf into your soul and you'll be fine, said Maddie. It's not the kind of thing that happens accidentally. Are you sure? Said Kishan. Because I think I may have accidentally ingested a bay leaf one time. My friend's grandma made this big pot of chili. The soul is not connected to your digestive tract, said Maddie. It's not your gut. So unless you're inhaling food, it's not going to be a problem. Again, said Kishan, new guy here. Soul? Respiratory system? That's a thing? Oh yeah, said Maddie. Why do you think people are so into burning herbs and inhaling them? I always assumed that's just I don't know exactly how cannabis works, but it's like psychoactive. What? Said Maddie. No, not that herb. Like how people burn incense. Huh? Said Kishan. That's something new. That's why you always have to watch out for when herbs go bad, said Maddie. Someone might accidentally inhale some of them. Yet another reason why I hate poppy seeds and their short shelf life. Kishan's eyes narrowed. How long does it take for poppy seeds to go bad? These went bad in a matter of months, said Maddie. A matter of months? Said Kishan. Like, how many months are we talking here? Maybe 30. Kishan did some counting on his fingers. 30 months is 2.5 years, if I'm not mistaken, Che piped up. You left that jar of poppy seeds for 2.5 years, Maddie nodded. As I said, a number of months. 30 is a number. 30 is an injustice, said Che. How have you not touched poppy seeds in all this time? People don't actually like poppy seeds, said Maddie. People just like the muffins they come in. If you give them a muffin without the poppy seeds, they'll like it even more. Poppy seeds just make everything worse. People love poppy seeds, said Che. Me, for instance. I have a great love for the humble poppy. Really, said Maddie. Then how is it that you've never noticed? How is it that you've never touched this jar of poppy seeds in the last 30 or something months it's been sitting on the spice shelf? Che shrugged. I like lots of things. Evidently, during the past 30 months, I've found things I enjoyed more than the humble poppy seed. I'm offended by the idea that you would discriminate against food. That you would discriminate against such a lowly and unpretentious food item. You like the idea of poppy seeds, said Maddie. You like the idea of an herb that comes in discrete units called seeds, so that you don't have to wonder about how much a sprig is. It's something that you can picture as opposed to cumin, that you wouldn't even recognize if I said it on your tongue, or rosemary, which you'd probably forget was a spice, and the time you couldn't tell from time. And which you couldn't tell from time. No, but you can tell the difference. Rosemary and thyme leaves are different. The length and shape are actually noticeably different, not to mention the smell and the conditions that they grow in. Yeah, they're quite noticeably different. When you see me disposing of poppy seed, it pains you because it's something you can. Okay, cool, we're back. My internet died for some reason. Just for a second. Anyway. And no one will notice its absence. A woman wearing a loose green sweater walked up to the counter. Were you just talking about poppy seeds? Said Matt. Yes, said Maddie. We're all out. Oh, that's too bad, said the woman. I was hoping you might have a... Don't say muffin, thought Maddie to herself. Don't say anything about poppy seed muffins. A poppy seed muffin, said the woman. My grandmother was really fond of them. Yeah, average male internet. Che grinned as Maddie tried to avoid cringing. The woman in the green sweater said, they used to be part of her standard muffin trifecta. Chocolate, blueberry, poppy seed. I always wondered why cafes stopped serving poppy seed muffins. I wonder, said Maddie aloud. It's been so long since I've tasted one, said the woman. Yeah, I'm guessing, said Maddie. Yeah, it's been years, said the woman. Alright. Let's do Ashley's. Ashley's journal too. Boom. Row Battle Royale Robot Power Rankings. Alpha Charlie Echo. All of the commentators call this robot Ace, probably because it's so good. It seems biased for them to call one particular robot Ace, but it's obvious how it got its name when it wins all of the time. At first, it looks like this bot doesn't have a weapon, and it's just designed to be really fast and agile. Then you realized that its entire body is a weapon for ramming into unsuspecting people. This would be a great tactic if you got into a fight when you didn't have a weapon. You don't need a flamethrower or a buzzsaw if you can just have a 150 kilogram body and can ram it into people really fast. This probably wouldn't work very well for me because I don't weigh 150 kilograms and I'm pretty small. But that isn't a problem since I usually carry things that can be used as weapons. Like, I could carry a crowbar, and if someone tried to attack me, then I'd take the L end and jam the crowbar under their feet and pull it up and use it to knock them off. Huh? No, to knock them off balance, even though I'm probably smaller than most people. I'm not sure why it's named Alpha Charlie Echo. I assume it was a remake, or made in the style of a boss called Alpha Charlie. But there aren't any other bots by that name, and the team that made it are all rookies. Also, none of them are named Charlie. Maybe it's named after someone's dad or brother. The next robot will probably be called Beta Charlie Echo, or maybe Alpha V2 Charlie Echo, or Final 2 Charlie Echo. Oh, she missed the point completely. But Ashley's got spirit. Alright, where's the billiards one? The one that I've been waiting for. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This is the moment I've been waiting for. You know, kid, you've got style. Brad perked up. It was the first unsolicited remark he'd heard from the old man Thomas all night. He'd been expecting a compliment after beating Thomas, but to hear that kind of comment after a loss made him perk right up. Thanks, said Brad. It wasn't a compliment, said Thomas. And just like that, Brad's mood came crashing down. Thomas continued. All the best players back in my day, none of them had style. Style doesn't win tournaments. Sure, said Brad. Consistency is what wins tournaments. Consistency doesn't mean anything, said Thomas. That's a symptom of skilled play. It's not a thing you can just decide on. No one sits down at a table and thinking, gee, I better be consistent today. Nobody. So if you're not thinking about consistency, what are you thinking about? Fundamentals. Thomas chalked the end of his cue. Fundamentals are what matter most, because if you don't get the fundamentals right, all the fancy shit isn't gonna matter. Thomas leaned down to line up his cue. The straight-in shots is your speciality, several opponents told me. Several opponents told me that exactly that. What? Several opponents told me that exactly that. Huh? That's not a sentence, man. Several opponents told me that exactly, sure. Several opponents told me exactly that, sure. But exactly that, okay, whatever. Tongue-in-cheek thinking they were insulting me. But I take it as a compliment. If you control the cue ball, you can turn any shot into a chip shot. That's what you want to do. That's how I can still sink him, even at my old age. I know, I've been watching you, said Brad. Your cue ball control is incredible. You're a very talented player. Not talented, said Thomas. You can do it too. The question is whether you've got the discipline and the practice. Thomas followed through with his stroke and hit the apex of the triangle, head on. He sank two balls, one striped, one solid. He pointed to the striped one, signifying his choice. I'm pretty disciplined, said Brad. When I was in high school, I'd come out every day after school and I'd put in at least 4 hours of practice. Sometimes I'd come in after dinner to squeeze a few more hours. Then on weekends, I'd come and spend all day up here. That's not necessarily discipline, that's commitment. Of course you did, said Thomas. All the pros have. Anyone can put in time. At a certain point, what matters can't be the number of hours you put in, because everyone puts in time. What matters is how you use that time. And it seems like you spent a lot of time practicing trick shots. Thomas lined up and made several practice strokes. Brad found himself getting annoyed with Thomas. Brad knew better than to try to talk. Brad knew better to try to talk to Thomas while he was lining up a shot. That was just bad etiquette and just bad sportsmanship, plain and simple. But it kept him from offering timely retorts to Thomas's statements. It was Brad's sportsmanship. Brad decided to talk. I don't know. What? Huh? Once again, another strange sentence. It was bad sportsmanship. Brad decided to talk at an opponent in a situation where etiquette forbade him from responding. Thomas finally took the shot and sunk a solid colored ball, but a bad bounce put the cue in the pocket with it. Brad sighed with relief as he took control of the ball, and with it control over the conversation. You're right, it takes a lot of practice. Brad lined up a shot, aiming at one of the balls in the opposite corner. If he could get the angle just right, he took the shot. The cue ball knocked one of the striped balls into the back left pocket before ricocheting and hitting another ball into the back right pocket, a clean double. Brad tapped the table with his cue as if to emphasize the shot he had just made. You don't learn how to do shit like this overnight. That's a nice trick, said Thomas. Now, can you do the same thing 10 times in a row without messing it up? No, said Brad. It's a hard shot. About a 10% for most people. But I'm good. I can get it 30, 40%. A 30% shot isn't worth taking, said Thomas. If I offered you a coin flip bet with a weighted coin, would you take it? No, of course not, said Brad. And yet you take the low percentage shot? I make it a high percentage shot, though, said Brad. Yes, and I'm sure that you look like a big hero by doing it. And when you miss, no one calls you on it, because defensive shots are boring, said Thomas. I can play defensively, said Brad. But you don't win games by playing defensively. Of course not. There's nothing on the scoreboard that lets you tabulate the places where you denied your opponent a point. Brad was angry now, and he began lining up his next shot, just so he wouldn't have to hear the old man talk. Some players might get tilted in a situation like this, but Brad played better when he was emotional. Whatever it was that made him play better under pressure also made him play better while angry. He couldn't even think about the shots he was making. He was operating on pure instinct and conscious thought. He thought there, and conscious thought. The thought that he was chased away. What? The thought that was chased away by anger was only a distraction. Brad tried for another double. He missed the second ball, but one was enough for him to set up a triple bang shot, which he followed with another shot that he put a spin on. He didn't even need to curve the ball around anything. He just wanted to show Thomas that he could do it reliably. Fortunately, he didn't get punished for it. His last shot placed one of Thomas's ball between the black 8 ball and the white cue ball. Alright. Brad knew that he could sink the shot easily by hitting Thomas's solid into his stripe. But he was on fire, and he wanted to do something flashy. He struck the cue ball's base, driving the leather tip of his stick into the table, and it bounced the ball up over Thomas's ball, hitting his own, sending it into the pocket. Brad turned to look at Thomas with a look of defiance. Looks like this game is mine, old man, he said. Yep, said Thomas as he took another sip of his beer. Is that all you have to say? Yep, said Thomas. How about, oh, you outplayed me? Do you need me to tell you that? Said Thomas. A little acknowledgement would be nice. A moment after he finished saying it, Brad found himself cringing. He was sounding like a petulant child. He was frustrated and angry and disappointed. But knowing all of that about himself didn't make any of it any less true. Thomas shrugged. I thought you played to win the game, not for validation. Oh, give me a break, said Brad. That line coming from a pro, when you complete play to win, sure, but there's money online. And the money goes to the person who gets the W. You play to win the game, you get the money, but I get the feeling that you're playing for something else. What are you talking about, said Brad. You play to impress people. That's different from playing to win. That's why you never take the defensive shot. I just won. Yep, said Thomas. But you weren't playing to win. Just because you happened to win doesn't mean you made the right decision. What the hell does that... How the hell does that make any sense, said Brad. Thomas took a coin out of his pocket. Here's a hypothetical. Suppose I have a coin. Now I ask you to call heads or tails on a $1 bet. Now, you know the coin is weighted. It lands on heads 70% of the time. What do you bet on? Heads, of course, said Brad. Now I flip the coin. It comes up tails. Bad luck, Brad. Just lost $1. But did you make the right decision? What? Thomas continues. If you had called tails, you would have won the bet. Clearly calling tails is the wrong decision. But sometimes you make the wrong decision and get short-term payoffs. That's why the fact that you won doesn't necessarily mean you made the right decision. And sometimes these things only reveal themselves after you flip the coins hundreds of times. I've played hundreds of games, said Brad. And that's as a pro. Practice games, I easily have hundreds of games a week, easy. Maybe 200 games a week, depending. And how many times have you made the WBC? I won the WBC, said Brad. Right, said Thomas. That's the thing about calling tails. Sometimes even if you make the wrong choice, randomness comes up in your favor. You happen to run hot. But in the long run, things don't quite pan out. Brad threw his cue down. So now you think that all my wins were due to luck? Not all luck, said Thomas. Like you said, it takes some skill to take a 10. It takes some skill to take a 10% shot to turn a 10% shot into a 30% shot. God, I am bad at reading now. A lot of skill, in fact. You've got good hands and a good eye for the ball, but the lust for a cool shot supersedes that. You'd rather fail spectacularly than win through boring play. Fuck you, said Brad. You know what? I actually won the WBC. Maybe I did run hot for just 1 year, but at least I have a championship to my name. You made it to the finals 6 times and lost every time, and now your career is done. You're over with. You'll never be a WBC champion, a title which I hold, by the way. You're right, said Thomas. I don't mean to knock the high variance approach. Maybe that's what you want, to win once and then burn out. Yeah, that is what I want, said Brad, annoyed to find himself finally agreeing with Thomas. What have you done with your life since retirement, old man? Ever done anything wild? I bet I've lived more in one night than you have in your entire life. I'm happy with the way I spent my life, said Thomas. No regrets. His eyes softened. Can you say the same? The question should have come as a challenge, but there was something in Thomas's eyes that, as he looked at Brad, that made it feel even worse. Thomas's expression wasn't one of antagonism. It was one of pity. Brad knew, deep in the pit of his heart, that Thomas wasn't doing it to attack him. That made it sting even worse. Brad started to say something, but found himself choking on a lump in his throat. And as he reached up and felt wetness on his cheek, he realized that he was crying. Oh boy, that story was unexpectedly intense. Bro, I was expecting a whole bunch of random funny ball comments. Alright, well, we're done down here. Back up to the terminal, I guess. Right? Yeah, back up to the terminal. The door does open. Bam, bam, bam. Oh boy, wait, Judgment 1? I'm pretty sure this is the one that Che was reading, right? Yeah, it is. We've already done that one. That's doodle mode. Doodle mode. What is studio mode? Show me what you got, Kishan. Okay, this is you can make animations. That's crazy. All right. Well, how do I move into different parts of the panel then? All right, I see. Ah, that's pretty cool. Bro, how do I... Huh. This is weird. Alright, anyway, I get it, I get it, I get it. Now, how do I leave studio mode? This is definitely not my forte. Dragging things and making... it would be pretty cool, though. But it's not my thing. Maybe I'll, like, look online and see what other people made. Oh, we're back down here. I have to go back up again. I think that's enough. I think I've cleared all the story points, so all that would be left would be to continue the story. But we've read everything for now. Yeah. That is the story so far. And I mean, I don't think I want to do like super long playthroughs of Necrobarista. This game is meant to be like really chill, one bit at a time. So let's make a new bookmark. Alright, that's fine. Right. I said quit, right? Yeah, I did quit. Ah, that was fun. A nice change from the Souls likes, the grind, the difficult games, the rage, the shooting. Just a nice chill day. Oh god. Okay, let me get up. Oh, whoa, whoa, wow, wow. Whoa. I was like so comfortable on that beanbag, it was insane. Alright. I think that's enough for today. So, yeah. Thanks for coming, guys. I'm gonna call it there. This is a good point to stop. Wow. I'm tired. Am I tired? I'm not tired. But I'm very maybe I get some of my day back today. Cause like this normally we stream a little longer. But I did start a bit later, I guess. Right. Thanks for coming. I will see you guys later. Like like later today, I'm probably gonna play it'll probably be Wolong in the afternoon in like a couple hours. So yeah, see you then. Bye bye.